Harold Perkins Jr. takes the #1 spot. Me and Mike had him first. Mike, I'll let you start. What are your thoughts on Harold Perkins?
He is a unique athlete. He's 6'1", 220, but truly his best reps come as pass rusher. And so that's something that's going to have to get squared in terms of his NFL projection at some point, because that's way too small to really play that position full time. But that really is where he looks the most special. Like, he has a number of moves in his repertoire. He has the bend to get around the edge on offensive tackles routinely, and he can fly. I mean, the guy really is probably a low 4.4 type of linebacker, just has insane range. So kind of only adjusting to really that off-ball position. Like, he's really not a true off-ball linebacker just yet, but the athlete that this guy is, what he could be, and just the versatility he brings to the table at that size with those traits, that's why I have him at #1 on my list.
So he plays a lot of overhang, a lot of 9 technique. He can play off ball. He even plays some of the slot. I thought he was really athletic in coverage. Sort of to Mike's point about the athleticism. Despite the size, I saw him win with his bull rush versus offensive tackles, forced a re-anchor. He works hard to get off these blocks and get and sort of pressure the pocket, move the pocket. The athleticism, the shorter quickness, the twitch all jumped out to me, Rick. And I think he creates problems despite that 220-ish frame for bigger, slower offensive tackle types. So he doesn't feel like he doesn't look to me like he's 220 with the way he plays.
No, except when he's in a stack and he has to take on blocks. That's where I had issues with him. This guy is a run and hit linebacker, free flowing. His production comes when he's at clean air. I call it clean air production, where it doesn't really have to take on too many people. That's where he struggled, in my opinion, just shedding and getting off blocks. But for as athletic he is, I saw him line up over the slot. I think he's going to be a 3-down linebacker, because he's an athletic guy in coverage as well. His best attribute, though, that really popped off, I agree with both of you, is the pass rush coming off the edge. But how can you put a 6'1" or 6'2", 220-pound 9 technique out there? So that's going to be, interesting how defenses see this guy and how they're going to implement him into their scheme, because he can't line up and play a 9 technique down in, down out. So I think you're going to have to be creative with the way that you use this guy, but he does have unique speed and unique athletic ability.
Can you think of a 225-ish 7 or 9 technique in the league that was successful off the top of your head? Nothing comes to mind.
No.
I'm trying to think. The kid out of Duke that was drafted 4 or 5 years ago, did they move him to off ball? Like, there's
Chris Rump.
Rump.
He still rushes, but he's just a spot pass rusher.
Right,
I think Von Miller has said he's played in the 230s, low 230s at times over the course of his career. And I think that's like your best bet, is that he gets into that range and just is explosive enough to do it. Right. I think he's unique enough that if anyone could, it's the guy that's, right around the 4.3s at that size.
All right. Worth pointing out, Harold Perkins is a third-year junior. And again, 6'1"-ish, 220-ish. Rick, we'll talk about this in a second, but right now, and I don't know if your rankings belie this, but just as an overall football player, if you're drafting 15th and Abdul Carter and Harold Perkins Jr. is there, and you have needs at whatever position in the front 7, let's say, who are you taking?
Oh, Carter, with no hesitation. He's 250-some pounds. It's a big man's game.
But he hasn't played outside yet. I mean, we've seen some pass rush reps from outside, but you're not hesitating?
Not hesitating. Nope.
What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I have Carter high on my board overall. And if we're just projecting straight to the edge, which is, again, I think where Carter's going to play for sure, I'll take Carter.
Okay. All right. I just want to get you guys on record, so when I quietly massage the date and win another $1 bet.
Okay.
The disdain on Rick's face. And it's still July. All right, Rick, comp and draft range, and then we'll play the game.
Yep, I gave him a 2nd round. He may probably go in the 1st if he runs into 4.4s in the low 1st, but I got him in the 2nd round right now. And my comp, because of the athleticism, was Edge Cooper, who was 2nd round pick, I believe, for Green Bay last year.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. All right.
If you did hate it, I'm still going to sleep fine tonight.
I know. Although later in this,
but I appreciate your approval. I really do. It really helps my self-esteem. Keep going.
You know, it's funny. My wife begs me to be more positive for my kids, and then I do it for you, and you just throw it in my face.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah.
How is it that Chris is more positive and more upbeat than you are?
You haven't had us both on when we're just like going at you with players.
He was the arbiter of common sense when he was on earlier. All right. You ready? You are hovering around 500 in this game, Rick, and the game is where I give you me and Mike's comp, but I don't tell you who made it, and then you try to match the comp with the person. You're about 500, so hopefully this turns around for you. This was tough for me.
Well, I hope that Mike gives a better effort because he's split me up sometime. I think it was a setup. I think you guys had a secret staff meeting.
I had bad comps last time. I was just like, I didn't love what I had for the D-line. So I think today's a little bit better.
If nothing else, Rick pushes you to do better because you don't want to have to deal with the you know, it's funny, Rick, when we first started working together, we used to, just a quick story, before we started doing the podcast, Mike, that fall, September, October, Rick and I would talk, and we would talk like for 2 hours at a time, just going through the players, because Rick was accustomed to doing that. And this was the 2022 fall, and we were talking Ola Fashanu, and I was like, yeah, I love him. And I didn't know Rick well enough to know that when he started the conversation, I don't know this kid, there's not a lot to like about this kid. And I was talking to a scout later about us working together. He goes, oh, he's one of those guys who just craps on everything and you have no idea. I said, yeah, that I found that out pretty quickly. So I just take the glass half full approach with you, Rick. I just assume you mean the best.
Yeah, I do. Really. It comes from the heart.
All right. Well, that's going to change after I say these next 4 words. All right, here we go. I felt pretty good about this one. I don't know. You ready, Rick?
Yep.
Match the comp with the handsome co-host. Hassan Reddick, Shaq Thompson.
Ooh, those are 2 pretty good comps.
What? Well, that's a victory right there for me and Mike.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Mike, and I'm going to go Reddick.
Oh, you got it. 1-0. You got it. Well done.